Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video. In today's video, I want to talk about the current controversy that has blown up about whether we should be teaching LGBTQIA+ in schools. I have so much to say, but I genuinely don't even know where to start. I am so sad that this is something I have to talk about. I never thought, well no, actually I'm not even surprised, but it's really, really sad that this is something that even has to be spoken on, that's even an issue. It's 2019 and people are genuinely wondering whether we should teach kids about being different and about LGBTQIA+ and about, you know, same-sex couples and including it in sex education when they get older. Like, this is ridiculous. So basically this all started because a man called Andrew Moffat brought in a programme which was called the No Outsiders programme into a school in Birmingham, and this was a programme that was all about teaching kids about differences, not just like you know, gay, lesbian differences or anything to do with sexuality, but just about differences in people and how to accept each other. The whole point of this programme is so that kids don't bully or gang up on other kids who are a bit different because they've learned about differences. Nobody is teaching your kids how to anal fist, okay? I need to calm. I need to calm because when I get angry I'll just stumble and it won't be smooth. But like, so many parents kicked off about this, which then has obviously sparked a massive debate on all social medias and the news about whether it's right to teach kids about differences such as sexual orientation, gender. Primarily, those are the two issues that people are kicking off about. In my opinion, if you are against children being taught about homosexuality, you are homophobic. Like I said, nobody is trying to teach your child how to use a strap-on or how to anal fist a man or how to lick pussy, excuse language. People are just trying to teach kids about accepting each other for love. And at the end of the day, people are going to be gay or bisexual or pansexual or transgender or bisexual, I can't remember if I've already said that, lesbian, gay, whatever. People are going to have different sexual orientations. So when they get older, of course they need to be taught about safe sex. Of course they do. I have so many gay, like, lesbian friends who didn't realise that you could still get STIs with having sex with a girl. Like, that needs to be taught. That's important. And just because there's not the same risks of like pregnancy doesn't mean that you shouldn't teach kids about safe sex. The whole reason there's so much hate around kids who have a different sexuality or have a different gender is because it is not normal to other kids. The reason that there is so much hate and discrimination is because people hate what isn't normal to them. But the problem is, everyone's idea of normal is very, very different. For some kids, the idea of normal is having one parent. For some, it's having two. For some, it's having one sibling. For some, it's having no siblings. Like, do you see what I mean? Right from the second you're born, our lives are so different, so intricately different. And we are also blindsided because if it's not in our range of normal, then it's not right. And that is like, it's almost like that's just default when you're a kid, that you're kind of curious or a bit funny about something that's not normal. But if you can teach in primary schools from a young age how to accept people who are different and how to change that perspective, you're going to stamp out a lot of the bullying that then happens when you get older and you realise your sexual orientation. I know that a lot of people will say that they came out, or when they kind of realised they were gay was maybe more towards high school, but there are plenty of people who have always known that they were different, and they have always known that something was different, even if they couldn't put their finger on it. If you can teach kids that some people may have two mummies, some people may have two daddies, some people may be born a boy and then become a girl, or vice versa, then you can stamp out so much of that hate and bullying that comes when you get to high school and people start coming out or transitioning, or even earlier. Like, I think we all think that we didn't know what sex was, or what love was in that sense. Yes, we did. Yes, we did know at that age. No child should ever have to feel alone in life because they have been secluded by society, and that is what happens. You just get isolated. I feel lucky in a sense that I didn't come out and didn't really realise I was had a thing for girls until after I left high school, because high school was a brutal place for anybody who had feelings about the same sex or about a different gender. And I remember so many kids being teased about it, and it was at some points it was the worst possible thing you could be called, a lesbian or gay, and everyone would be like, no I'm not, that's disgusting. And girls would be like, I could never imagine licking a vagina, that's just minging and stuff like that. That is because people have been conditioned from a young age that it is not normal, and that isn't always because someone's been down their throat saying this about gay people and this about, homosexuality, but it's because no one has ever told them that it is normal. Whereas if it is just included as part of their education and part of their learning, then it's always going to be normal. I can't even imagine how it must feel to be gay, or whatever label or non-label you want to use, in high school or primary school right now, and have the whole world judging and deciding on whether people should be taught about your existence. People think that if their kids are taught about being gay, that they might become gay. Not that that's even a bad thing, but people genuinely think that's how it works. There's been gay people or trans people, I'm using the umbrella gay, I mean everyone, since the dawn of time, but they have hid themselves, and for years and years and years and years. It's not just you do, obviously it's much more normal now, so it might feel like to someone who was a bit of a bigot or a bit homophobic that there's more gay people now. That really isn't how it works. It's just that we're more accepted, so it's more normal, so people are more open about it. It's just about recognising that not everyone is going to be straight and white, basically, and that some people will come from different families, and some people will come from different backgrounds and have different parents and have different feelings. How shallow that parents could want their kids to be with someone and love someone based on their genitalia. Just really think about it for a moment. Some parents would rather their kid be with someone who has a penis than someone who is a genuine nice person and makes them happy just because they have a penis. I can't even fathom it in my brain. We are much better as a generation, of course we are, and I do believe it will keep getting better, but we're taking steps back at the moment. We are taking steps back. Everyone's so quick to say it's Muslim people don't want, it doesn't agree with their views, or the news will report people who are Muslim who have said that. Do you understand how many homophobic people there are in Christianity? I have been to church my whole life, and I have had to come in and out of so many different churches because I've gone somewhere, because I'm religious, and because I believe in God, and I want to praise and be in a positive mindset, and I've had to leave because they will start teaching against homosexuality. But everyone jumps straight onto, slating Muslims. It's the Muslim religion. In every single religion, you will get people who are against homosexuals. We're just fueling more and more hate at the moment. And obviously there's the whole terrible, terrible thing in Brunei where they have brought back the stoning sentence for men. If I remember rightly, it's you can be stoned to death if you are a man and you are caught having sexual relations with another man for adultery. And if you are a woman, then I think it's a prison sentence. It's never been as strong a sentence for women as it has been for men. I don't know if that's because people think that lesbian sex isn't real sex, or if that's because men are sexist and the men who are voting this in probably don't mind. They don't feel as sick at the idea of two girls having sex as they do men, because this is the joke of it, isn't it? So many people, so many men who are disgusted by boys loving other boys will sit and watch lesbian porn and will fantasize over women or will joke about threesomes. It's the same concept. So that is a huge step back, and I do believe as a world we need to take a stance. I've seen so many people obviously boycotting those hotels and posting about boycotting those hotels, which is amazing. It's not a movement that's gone unnoticed. We can't all fly out there and protest, and that would probably be incredibly dangerous too. But what we can all do is keep talking, keep speaking out, keep making people aware, and keep showing people that this is not the world that we want to live in and that this is not acceptable. We need to keep standing up and taking a stance against this hate. Like, it's not getting anyone anywhere. It's just, I have no idea why you would want to kill someone for something that is absolutely none of your business. It's baffling to me. It's baffling to me that you would care so much about what someone does in their private life. The thing is, nowadays, people aren't really outright homophobic or transphobic. It's more the jokes, the banter, the reaction of like, what the fuck, or the kind of the ignorance, or how they will treat people. People don't really go around anymore going, I hate gays, I hate trans people. Like, that's not really how it works anymore. It's much more subtle and therefore harder to kind of pick up on, but it's there and it's blatant. I do have some people I know in my life, or who used to be in my life, who have never ever left their hometown, or have never left the hometown that I come from, and they have views against certain types of people, and it is because they have never left the hometown and come across anybody different, and they live in this bubble where they think that small town or village is the way, the truth and the life. I know so many people who are transphobic, and I think you've never even met a trans person. You have no idea what you are talking about. The only reason that you are so hateful and ignorant is because you have never, ever, ever come across that in your life. And that is very sad. It's very sad that you'd have to meet someone like that to actually put your views aside and recognise them as an actual person. I know I only come from a small town, so it's probably different for everyone, but when I was young, there was no one in my year who had two mummies or two daddies, or not that I knew of. There was no one, I don't know anyone that has same-sex parents, or did when we were in school. And like I said, I know I only come from a small town, but now I have so many friends who are in same-sex relationships, or who are trans, and who are actually, starting a family or want to start a family. And I just hope and pray that by the time my kids are on the playground, that there will be lots of people, or at least a few people with same-sex parents, because it normalises everything. for the kids that are come from uneducated and ignorant backgrounds, just being around friends who have same-sex parents will be like so educational for them and will normalise so much. And I am so horrified that people genuinely want to take this education away from each other. I mean, this whole idea of this social programme is that you can accept people. It looks at religion, about culture, it's everything. It's not just about teaching your kids like how to be gay, if you can even teach that or whatever. It's just ridiculous. It's not even that deep. It's just about teaching kids that there are people who are different to their normal and that is okay. This in turn will of course bring bullying rates down, which will in turn bring suicide rates down. This can only be good for the mental health of the country. And yet there are people who are speaking out. I've seen one news report about parents telling this particular school that started all this off that they will kill their child if they are gay. Imagine reading that on the news, that your own mother has said that, and there are individuals out there who want to ruin it and put people in boxes and shun people. We are literally discussing whether some people's existence should be taught about. Like, can you imagine feeling that you might be gay or lesbian or trans or whatever in school, and there's people and your friends' parents and, you know, teachers and whatnot are actually discussing whether people should be taught about you existing and how you will feel. Obviously, I know I'm going to feel more passionate about it having a girlfriend, but I don't see how anyone decent can support the opposing of that programme and what it could do for people. I've always struggled with people like hating on stuff like this, because I just think, what actually is it to you? What actually is it to you if someone you don't even know, like, people have such big opinions on strangers, like, I see it all the time on Twitter, like, people will make jokes about someone trans or who's put up a picture or whatever. I think, you don't even know that person. What does it even matter to you that they've chosen to transition or they've chosen to identify as something else? Like, why does it matter to you if someone wants to change their pronouns? Why is that such a big deal in your life that you can't cope with that? Like, it's literally changing he from she or to they. Like, it's not that difficult. And aside from that, even if it is difficult or you are struggling with it, why do you have to be so hateful about it? Why does it matter to you whether a boy in your year wants to have sex with other boys? He's not asking you to do it. He's not asking you to come and watch or to come and film or to come and, like, join in. Like, why does that matter to you? You're doing what you want, so don't stop other people from doing it. Like, people are so hateful about things that are making others happy, and I've never ever understood it. I have never understood that. And it's a shame, because I think programmes like the No Outsiders programme could really help stamp all of that out from a very, very early age. I was lucky to come from a background where I was taught at home by my mum and dad not to hate anyone else of any other, like, not to discriminate any group of people, basically. And some kids aren't that lucky, and I get that. But school is another place that can help normalise those things and educate those people. And I think it should be compulsory. It should be compulsory. I mean, they are bringing in new curriculum from September, which is going to be taught about, like, other social issues. But you can opt to take your child out of that until they're 15. Like, what? Why do you not want your kid to learn about social things? I just don't understand how you could think that learning about something will turn you into it. Like, there were so many memes and jokes like, oh yeah, teaching your kid to be gay is really going to make them gay. Like, so happy that I turned into a Tudor after like my year 4 history classes, and it's so true. We learn about so much in history and so many other things. It's not going to turn us. You can't turn yourself gay. Like, you're always somewhere on like the sexual orientation or gender spectrum, and it might go up or down, or it might, you know, be stronger or whatever at other points. But learning, I'm trying to think of like a metaphor. It's not like cooking where someone might show you a recipe and you're like, oh my god, that sounds so nice, I'm going to make that, I'm going to have that. That's not how it works with sexual orientation teaching. That's not how it works. Like, they're not going to talk about like, oh, some people have 2 mummies, and some kid's going to go, I want to be 2 mummies, and just randomly then start being like a lesbian. It's just like, it's sexuality, it always has been and always will be a spectrum and a journey that people go on. It's not something you can be taught, but safe sex should always be practiced and safe sex should always be taught. And at the end of the day, the world is going to have to get a grip, because more and more people are open, and you cannot withhold that kind of education from kids. To withhold that education is homophobic. Like, if you're saying, no, don't want to tell my child about how to have safe gay sex, that is homophobic, because at the end of the day, if your child is gay, they're going to have it. Would you not rather they had it safe? I mean, you only have to look at the AIDS epidemic to know that withholding that kind of information can end in disaster, because people were gay and they were so shunned and so ashamed that no one spoke out, and they were not taught how to practice safe sex. And thousands of people died as a result of that. I feel this is something I'm so strong about. Just please accept each other for who we are and be open-minded. Being open-minded means that when someone tells you something that isn't your normal, you don't, you know, shun it or shame it or cuss it. You think about it and you ask, you know, you get curious and you ask information and you make your own opinion. But please remember that you are allowed to do what you want in your private life as long as it is safe and legal. Again, these are the same people that will pretend to care about mental health so much and then will happily throw, you know, the word faggot out there. People think it's not that deep, but the people who think it's not that deep aren't the ones who've ever been through anything like that, so they can't really speak on how deep it is. Just be mindful, do you know what I mean? Just be mindful and keep standing up for what's right. Don't be a sheep, don't be a silence. Like, silence is allowing these things to happen. Don't do that. You know, stand up against the stuff that's happening in Brunei. Keep sharing, keep being active, keep being positive, keep picking your friends up on their homophobic behaviour, even if it's hard. You know, if you can't tell your friends, like, hey, do you think about what you're actually saying there? Like, or question your friends, like, well, why do you think that? Like, what is actually wrong with that? Then who can? Do you know what I mean? You should be able to talk to your friends. I've had lots of difficult conversations with friends where I've been like, that's really not okay to me, and I want to know why. And obviously, like, it doesn't always go to plan, and obviously, like, I've argued with people over stuff like that, but I've also had conversations where I've gone like, hey, I know that was kind of trivial, but do you kind of understand the weight of what you've said there? And they'll be like, what? Like, and they want to be educated, and I'll explain to them, and then they'll be like, I never even thought about it that way, or I never even knew that, or I never even, you know, bothered to think about how that person might feel, and suddenly they've been educated and they've changed their perspective a little bit, and that's all it is. So yeah, sorry that this video has been a bit ranty. Yeah, I'm gonna try and find something that's like helpful, maybe that you guys can get involved in, if it's a petition or anything for the government to get more involved. The government needs to get more involved in what's happening in Brunei, because it's like, we sell arms to this country, we actually sell arms to this country. The Queen goes for tea with the Sultan, and more needs to be done to say like, hey, you know what, we're not going to support you and we're not going to help you if you're doing these things that are so against our agenda. But, you know, whatever. We live in this country these days, and I think it's just going backwards with that kind of stuff in terms of our government. That's another video for another time. Yeah, I hope that some people out there are as passionate as me, or that this has been helpful or interesting to anyone. And yeah, I just needed to get that off my chest, but that is my kind of stance on the situation. And yeah, I hope you'll have a lovely rest of your day, and please don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll be back to doing something more positive next time. And I'll see you all soon. Bye!